Hi everyone! So this week's craft video is a little different. We're in a different room and you can actually see my face because this week we are going to be making some little salt dough creations. So if you don't know what salt dough is, it's pretty much what it says on the tin. Dough with a lot of salt involved, flour and water, and basically you use it to create little ornaments. So when I was in primary school or nursery, I made this out of salt dough, a little Christmas ornament, and I thought it would be a really nice one for any students or staff members who have children. Schools aren't actually going on right now, and I know it can be a bit boring stuck in the house, so this is a really nice fun way to entertain your kids and kind of get them a little bit interested in kind of the basics of cooking. So we're going to go forward with that today. So for this recipe that I've got, it's from BBC Good Food, really simple. You need a cup of plain flour, half a cup of table salt and half a cup of water. So I've got my plain flour and salt, and obviously the tap is right next to me. And basically what you're going to do is mix the flour and salt into a bowl together, and then add your water slowly and incorporate that as you go until you create a ball of dough. So I'm gonna put my ingredients in my bowl, mix it up, and then I'll come back. I should probably mention at this point as well that you will want to be preheating your oven to quite a low setting, nothing too hot, because you're gonna basically slowly bake these. It's not a no-bake recipe. Obviously, health and safety, don't let the kids do it themselves. Adult supervision at all times, you get the idea. So I've got my dry ingredients in my bowl. I've given them a little mix, make sure they're well mixed together so the salt and flour is all kind of one component now. And I've got my half cup of water here, so I'm basically gonna, little by little, pour a little bit in, give it a stir, and keep going until all the water's gone and we have a nice dough. After you've kind of mixed your water in so there's no little puddles or anything, it is going to start becoming like the dough form that we need. At that point, you're going to stop stirring with whatever you're using. I'm using a spoon, and this is where you might want to get the kids involved a bit more. If they haven't been mixing it already, you might have flour all over your kitchen by now. But basically, I've got a kind of basic dough, but now I'm going to want to use my hands to kind of fully incorporate that. I've still got a little bit of loose flour at the bottom, so just want to make that all really nice and into a ball. So that shouldn't take long at all. You can see I've got my nice little ball of dough. This will make around about 10 to 12 ornaments roughly, depending on how big you want them, what shapes you're using, how thick they are, but roughly about, yeah, 10 to 12. So now all you want to do is flour your surface a little bit. So make sure you've got a clean worktop and just a little bit of flour over, kind of like you're making cookies. And you've want to mold the dough into whatever shape you want. I should probably mention at this point as well, I'm recording this after I've done everything else, that the dough, although we've used just flour, salt and water, we've used quite a lot of salt. So if a child does try to eat this, it won't be dangerous, but it's not going to taste nice. So just warn them of that. Kids do what they want anyway, so they might end up saying, okay, I'm still going to eat it. Just be ready for the nasty bleh faces. But yeah, we're not putting anything dangerous in, so all relatively natural ingredients. So I've got my lightly floured work surface, and basically I'm just taking a little part of my dough, and I'm just going to make a basic circle for this video, just to kind of show you the basic gist, because I don't have any cookie cutters. So all you want to do is kind of flatten it out as best you can, make sure it's quite nice and even. And I've got a nice little oval, I guess. So really easy, all you do is take it to your floured baking tray and pop it on. And keep going like that until you've used up all your dough. and you've got shapes you want, and you're either yourself, if you're doing it just for yourself, or if you've got kids in the house, until the kids are happy, really. Another nice thing, if you don't want to do just loads of different shapes, something you can do as a nice keepsake is actually get quite a lot of dough, depending on how big you want it to be, and roll it out on the table, and then get whoever's handprint you want. So we're doing basically a circle of dough with a handprint in the middle as kind of like little keepsake. So you roll your dough out into a circle big enough to accommodate the palm of the hand. Make sure it's nice and flat, and thick enough so when the hand gets pressed in, it's not going to make it too thin. And then you're just going to want to press the hand in, take it out, and you should have a nice little handprint on there. So it's a nice little keepsake. You could do it as a kind of a memory box if it's for like a young child, because as much as this is it's not the best situation at all, it's quite bad, but it's definitely something your kids are going to remember. It's something we're all going to remember, and having something like a little handprint keepsake could be a really nice reminder of a time when you've got through some bad stuff and came out of it at the other end when we eventually get there. So it's a nice little motivational piece as well. Before you put whoever's hand you're pressing in, if they have been using the flour and stuff, they're going to have a bit of icky hands. To get a really nice press down, just quickly give the hands a wash, good practice. Before you press it in, make sure they're nice and dry so you don't wet the dough, and then press in. So I stayed in the accommodation in Shrewsbury, so I don't actually have, well, I'm one of the youngest in my family, so I don't actually have any kids with me. So this keepsake is going to be my hand, apparently. The things I make and will probably end up keeping for the sake of you guys during this time is crazy. So I've had to use like the rest of my dough. I got 6 little ornaments made, so I've got 6 little different shapes here, and I'm going to try and, well, I'm not going to fit that on there. I'll have to get a second baking tray and use the rest of my dough, rolled it out into a ish circle shape. So now I'm going to do clean hands and press it in, and it looks like that. So I've got everything on the tray. I don't know how I managed that, absolute feat of magic. And I've been preheating my oven for a little bit, so it's relatively warm. It's not too hot, but obviously there is still the health risk. So if you're doing this with a child, either put them in the oven yourself or be very, very involved. If the kid is really like, no, I want to put it in the oven, kind of make them feel like they're doing it, but pretty much do it yourself. So I'm gonna put my stuff in the oven now. It's quite a nice little cool, it's like a little toasty fire. Shut the door, and then I'm gonna set a timer for around about 3 hours, checking them after an hour. So basically you want to just keep checking them regularly. It is a bit of a long process in terms of cooking times. But basically cook them for 3 hours or until they're all completely solid, whichever comes first. And that is it. So once they're cooked, I will check back with you. So unfortunately, somebody actually turned the oven off. So the salt dough creations that I made earlier are going to take a little bit longer to cook, and I still need to edit all this footage. Which means unfortunately I won't be able to show you the finished product of those, at least not this week. I'll put it up on social media or something similar once they are done. But basically once they're cooked and fully solid, all you need to do is paint them after they've cooled. Allow plenty of time for them to cool, because even though you've got it on a low temperature setting, they are still going to be hot. Let them cool completely, and then if it's the kids painting them, let them go wild, whatever creations they want to make. That's kind of up to them. And that is kind of the gist of it, really. It's a really simple thing. 3 ingredients that you're probably going to have in your house anyway. Flour, water, salt. Stick it in the oven for a little bit and you're done. And then free to paint, decorate however you want. So I hope you enjoyed this. It's a little bit of a different one, and I will see you next week for another video. Bye!